Hi, my name's Clare Campbell. I'm the head teacher at St Charles Primary School in Salford, and this is our school dog Charlie. Hello Charlie. So the story I've got to read to you today is the story about the Holy Ark of the Covenant. So this is chapter 24, King David in Jerusalem, from the ACM Bible. After Saul's death, David became king over all of Israel. He conquered Jerusalem and made it into the capital city. He had the Holy Ark of the Covenant brought to Jerusalem together with the tablets of stone on which the commandments of the covenant were written. He wanted Jerusalem to be the city of God. David trusted God. He wanted to stay faithful to the covenant. When he'd done something evil, he admitted what he'd done wrong, his guilt, and he asked God to forgive him. One day, David summoned Nathan. Nathan was a man whom God had chosen as his spokesman, a prophet. David said to Nathan, "I'm living in a splendid palace, but the Holy Ark is still in a tent. I want to build a house for God." The next day, Nathan came back to David and said, "God does not want you to build him a house. On the contrary, he wants to build you a house, a living house. When you die, your son will rule over God's people. The word holds true forever." And so the people of God believe that the great Saviour, the Messiah, whom God had promised to man, will come from the family of David. In this story, we hear about the Holy Ark of the Covenant. We may have read about it or seen images in books or films. It sounds really exciting, doesn't it? The tablet of stone with the 10 Commandments on. If we close our eyes, we can imagine what that looks like. The 10 Commandments engraved in huge slabs of stone. In this story, we hear about King David and the prophet Nathan. They were God's people in God's holy city, Jerusalem. David trusts God and he wants to stay faithful to the covenant, the promise between God and his people. So he calls Nathan to him and he tells him that he is worried that the Holy Ark is not being looked after well enough. It's only in a tent, while he, King David, is living in a splendid palace. David thinks he should build a house, a special house for God. So he asks Nathan's help. David really wants to please the Lord, but God told Nathan that he didn't want a splendid house. The opposite. God is going to build a living house for David. What does he mean by this? What do you think a living house means? David wants to build God a temple, but God said, "Thank you, David, but no thanks. Let me build you a house instead." This is a greater promise than David's offer to God, because David's living house, his dynasty, his legacy, would last longer and be more glorious than any temple that David wanted to build. Think about a time when you wanted something. You really wanted it, but you didn't get what you wanted. Do you think that's because God had a different plan for you? God hears every single one of our prayers, but he answers them with his will, not ours.